Welcome to the Mothering with Jesus podcast, where we are real and raw about the ups and downs of motherhood and where we rally together to become the mothers that God intended us to be. This week's guest is London Dismuke. She is so awesome. She is not actually a mother, even though this is Mothering with Jesus, but I feel like this is such an important conversation to have. She has a crazy story. I'm not going to spoil it, but it is fascinating. And we're going to talk about being a victim. I think it can be really easy for all of us to slip into being a victim without even really recognizing it. And so I hope that you'll take some time to figure out how you can apply this into your life. And it's a simple answer, as most things are, but you are going to love London. Let's go. When you have a podcast, you have several different fees. You pay for your editing software, and you also pay for like a dashboard website that pushes your podcast to all the podcasting websites that are out there. So I really appreciate all those who shop Oliveda, who shop my links, and who support me in that way. It keeps the podcast running. You can always look in the description of this video and find my Oliveda link. This skincare has seriously been so helpful for me. I love it. I shout it from the rooftops all the time because it's so fantastic. I only share products that I truly love and stand behind. If you are on my Instagram, I appreciate when you shop my links. You can always find those in my highlights or in my bio. I have fun clothes, tank tops that work with the new garments, all sorts of fun things happening there. So thank you. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I have a new podcast series that I just started that's just a few minutes long. It's just with me, and I'm just sharing a few things that I feel like could help out another mother. So check those out. It can be so busy to sit down and listen to a full episode sometimes. So this is just a little quick pick me up, get ourselves in the right zone, and going back to being a great mom. I'm always cheering you on. Thank you guys so much for listening. Welcome, London. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks
First off,
for
I
having
love
me.
your name. London has been like on my baby list name for years. So
Thank you. It's actually fun. All of my siblings are all named after like cities and places. So it's really fun.
okay, cool. What are the other names?
So there's like Holland, Brooklyn, Boston, Houston. There's 12 of us. So it's it's a lot, but we're all named after places. It's fun.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay, well, tell us a little bit where you're at in life right now, and then we're going to go back to why there's 12 of you and kind of your story.
Okay, perfect. So right now I work as a nail tech. I'm married to my husband. We just got married in September. So it's been about 6 months almost, which is super fun. We're just enjoying our newlywed life. I just graduated from college last semester. So I graduated with a degree in family studies, communications, and human development. And I was thinking maybe going into marriage and family therapy in the future, but we'll see. So that's kind of what I'm up to right now.
That's so awesome. So what brought you to that degree?
So I was brought to that degree for a lot of reasons. From my upbringing, of course. I like learning about people's stories and what makes them who they are. And I like learning about families because obviously there's 12 kids in my family, and that can create a lot of chaos, a lot of dysfunction. And it's really fun having 12 kids, but we all are, 8 of us are adopted, so we all come with our different struggles and challenges.
8 of you. So, wow. That's amazing.
I'm just interested in trying to understand what makes people tick and help them through that because I had to go through that myself. So
yeah, I love that. So I heard you give a talk you're in my ward for people who don't know. And I heard you give your talk and you just shared a little bit about your background. And then I had already known what you were studying. And I was like, oh, that is so brilliant. So I love that. So let's dive into your upbringing and what it was like.
Yes. Okay, so I'll start way back at the beginning. This is when I was like 3 years old. Me and my siblings grew up in kind of a dysfunctional family. So it was me, my sister, and then I had 2 older brothers. And my birth parents, they would abuse illegal drugs and substances. They would fight violently with each other. And eventually my birth dad harmed my birth mom, and we were there to witness it, and the state came and took us away. And they
Mhm.
saw that I had rotting teeth. I had my 4 front teeth removed. I looked like a vampire, just only had these 2. And
Mm.
they just saw that we were kind of neglected, so they placed us in foster care. And
And
my oldest
you were 3 at that time.
yeah, I was 3, and my oldest brother, he had a different birth dad, so he went with that birth dad, so immediately we were separated from him. Then it
Okay.
was me, my little sister, my older brother, and we went to a foster family, and me and my little sister were too young to be in preschool or school, but my oldest brother could be in school.
Mhm.
Why those parents worked, and so they decided just to keep him and then send me and my sister to a different foster home. So we
Mm.
were separated from 2 of our birth brothers, and we were just going from foster home to foster home for quite a while. I think we went to, I want to say 4 different foster homes.
Mm.
And so
And is
it
that
was,
usually like you usually change just because, the family's circumstances change, they can no longer watch you, or
mhm.
foster children are too hard or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. Like family circumstances can change, and like the state obviously wants to reunite the kids with their birth parents. So the foster families know that most likely the kids are not going to be permanent in their home. But yeah, just family circumstances changed. We were with a few different homes, and the one of the homes we were at was my my parents now. It was their friends, and they weren't able to adopt us, but they really wanted to, and their circumstances changed, and they wanted to make sure that me and my sister were being taken care of.
Mhm.
So they called my mom and they were like, "We have these 2 really cute girls, and we know that you guys are foster parents as well. Like, we can't take care of them anymore, but could you guys?" And
Mhm.
my parents were like, "Of course." But they were just fostering. They had already had kids and then adopted some, and they weren't planning on growing their family anymore. They just like being foster parents for
Yeah.
kids who needed help. So they
So
weren't
how many
planning.
kids did they have at that point?
So at that point, let's see, they had my 4 brothers who were biological, and then they had adopted 3 more kids at that point. So there was 7 already. And my
Or
parents were young parents, so
yeah,
it kind of just they
they weren't
all
even done after you guys, so
yes.
wow.
So they were fostering, and when me and my sister were in foster care with them, the state didn't say, "Oh, you guys can be adopted yet." We would go back and have visits with our birth mom and
How old were you at
see.
this point?
So I was still 3. So it was like a lot of
Okay,
homes really
really
quickly.
quickly,
Like
wow.
it wasn't it because they try and do it within a year. They try and give your birth parents like a year to get their lives together and get in a place where they can take care of you.
Okay.
And why this was happening, my birth mom had my little brother, and
Wow.
he was born premature, really premature. He was in the hospital. And once he was out of the hospital, my parents were fostering me and my sister, and then this new little baby who had just been born.
Okay, wow.
And my birth mom just couldn't get it together. My birth dad had been sent to jail, and they asked my parents if they wanted to adopt us, and they felt connected to us and weren't planning on having more kids. But then that was automatically me, my sister, my little brother added
Mm.
to our family.
Oh my.
And eventually, my birth mom had 2 more babies, my 2 little sisters, and we
Like,
fostered them.
biologically, she had them?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
with my birth dad, yeah, same birth dad years later, and they same thing, they weren't able to take care of them, so they came to our family, and my parents adopted them as well. So then we ended up with 12 kids
Oh my
in our
gosh.
family. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So your birth parents had 5, and then the one brother
wait, let me
who
see. So we had so they had my 2 older brothers, me and my sister. Those 2 brothers got sent to different homes, so then it
Right.
was just me and
But there
my
was
sister.
5 of them from, like, those parents, and then your one older brother is your birth mom's son.
Yes.
But he's with birth dad.
Yes.
And then what happened to this second brother?
So this second brother, he was adopted by that family. They're related to my birth parents. I think it's my birth mom's aunt or something. So they were a little bit older. They adopted him, and my parents stayed in touch with him, and we did lots of visits and had a relationship with him. They moved out to California, so we kind of just grew apart. It was harder to
Yeah.
see him as often, but we're still in touch with him. He's doing great, and he's married, has a cute wife and a good life. He just lives up in northern Utah. So,
Okay, so cool. So
yeah.
then you and your sister and then your baby brother, and then
Mhm.
what are the other two? A boy and
And
a
then
girl?
two little sisters
Two
after
little
that.
sisters. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I'm just like trying to wrap my
No,
mind
it's so
around
much. So
all
all
of this.
five of
That's
us
amazing.
are
So
the
all five
last.
of you are from the same birth parents and you
Mhm.
got adopted by the same
Yes.
mom and dad.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah. We're
amazing.
all biological.
Oh, bless them. That is so
Yeah.
cool that
Yeah.
you were all able to stay together. So what's maybe you said it already, but what is the difference between that little baby and then the two, like how many years spread
Oh, how many years?
between your brother and then the two little sisters?
I want to say, let's see, my brother is 20 and then my little sister is 18. It was only like 2 or 3 year difference.
Okay.
It wasn't a huge age
And
gap,
your
but
birth parents just knew that like you were all with this family, like it was an open
well,
adoption, I guess, and they just
so
said like, "Hey, we had some more babies."
yeah, so they wanted to keep my little sisters actually. So they had one, the older one, and then they had my the last little sister,
Yeah.
and she was born with alcohol in her system, or what
Oh.
I can't remember what it's called, but my
Yeah,
birth mom was doing
alcohol
alcohol.
syndrome or
Yes, yeah. So straight from the hospital, they took her and then they went and got my little sister and they asked my parents to foster them.
mm.
And we're hoping to reunite them with my birth mom, but then again, she wasn't able to get
Oh,
herself cleaned up. And so then they came and were adopted into our family.
okay, wow. This is
Yeah.
amazing. That's so cool. With the biological children, are you guys like any of you the same age or did it kind of like go in a
Yeah.
natural?
So it kind of just is one after the other after the other. My older brother and older sister, they're the same age. They were just adopted from two different families, so they're kind of like twins, but not biological. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're just one after the other after the other.
Oh, that's amazing. So cool. Okay, I love all that. So tell us a little bit about what that was like. Obviously you got adopted at a young age.
Yes.
So it was that helpful? Give us
Yeah,
all your
so I was so young, but it's so interesting because I'm like, when I tell people, I'm like, oh, I was just 3 and then I was 4 when I was adopted, so I was so young. And they're like, oh, you probably don't remember. I'm
Mm,
like, actually, yeah, I do remember. I remember all the birth families. I remember a little bit of what it was like. Like, I lived in a trailer with my
mm,
birth parents. We slept on a sleeping bag. Like, I do remember
mm.
those things. And it was hard to feel connected to anybody at first because I was scared they were all just gonna leave me. Like
Yeah,
I got taken away from my birth family, and then our birth brothers, and then we're switching homes.
yeah,
So my parents told me they're like, when you first came to our house, seemed so scared. All you did is just stare all the time. You never talked to us or anything.
yeah.
And I think it was just hard for me to want to attach and trust
Oh, for
somebody.
sure.
And it was really hard, but my parents are members of the church and they taught us about the plan of salvation and about God's family and how we're all part of God's family no matter what or where we are. And we're also part of their family and they're going to be our new parents. They're going to help us. They were very open with us. They let us ask whatever questions we wanted to ask. It was never something to be ashamed of that we were adopted or like anything like that. But when we got adopted, we went to the court and got adopted. And then my parents asked us if we wanted to be sealed to our family.
Mhm.
And so all my siblings and my parents we all went to the temple. And I remember, even though I was 4 years old, like me and my sister went and picked out some sewing dresses. We invited some people from our ward who we wanted to come. And I remember kneeling on the altar when I was 4 years old
Mhm.
and holding hands with my siblings and my parents. And it was really special. And that moment, like from then on, I was like, without a doubt, like, I know God is real. I know I'm part of his family. And I know that I'm going to be sealed to my family forever. So
That's so
that
beautiful.
was just my parents teaching me about the gospel was just such an important thing for me because I learned that I could trust God and I could trust them.
Yeah. That's so beautiful because obviously you had been moved around a lot, and just like you said, so hard to feel like you could actually attach and trust people, and how
Mhm.
amazing that even as a little 4-year-old you could feel the power of the ceiling. We went and
Mhm.
did ceilings this week, my husband and I, and it is just such a powerful ordinance, and it is neat to be reminded when I go of the importance of it, but obviously to hear your story and see how immediately that helped you feel more
Mhm.
secure and safe. It's so cool. And just
Thank
like
you.
know that you were part of God's family,
Yeah,
like that's such an amazing thing that we have. And I think it's easy in the gospel to take that for granted and not think too much about like the plan of salvation. And we just have been taught it since such a young age, right? Like,
exactly.
like that's the first thing they probably started teaching you,
Mhm.
right? That's the first thing
Yeah,
I start teaching my daughters. And it's just amazing knowledge, but we don't understand how good we have it.
exactly. Like, I don't know where my oldest brother is. And actually, my birth dad had so many more kids that we don't, with other people that we don't even know. My sister
Oh,
just
really?
found out through, she found his Facebook and saw he had other kids. And I'm like, I don't know where they are or what they've been taught. And so it just makes me even more grateful. Like, it changes your perspective. Like, I was blessed with such this amazing opportunity to learn this. And like, even though it's such a simple truth, I'm a child of God, I'm part of an eternal family. It was the most life-changing thing for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. So beautiful. I love that. Thanks for sharing. So you got sealed, and then tell us a little bit about just kind of your feelings and how you moved through such a hard thing, because I think
Yeah.
um, I have been interested in adoption for a long time. My husband's patriarchal blessing talks about us having the opportunity to adopt.
Uh-huh.
And, with that comes a lot of negativity, a lot of people being like,
Mhm.
adoptive people are really troubled, and
Yeah.
they have a hard time. And I'm like, they do, they would, right? Like,
Yeah.
even if you are adopted at a young age, you are literally formed in a womb with trauma going on around you, right? And
Yeah.
so, like, that affects your soul.
Yeah, it truly does. And there was 8 of us in my family who were adopted from all these different circumstances. Like my brother, his birth mom was 14 when she had him, and
Mm,
my birth parents were abusing drugs, and my sister was born with alcohol in her. Like, there was all these different things and traumas. And for me, like I was saying, it was hard for me to trust people and feel like I should make a deep connection with them. And it was hard, but what I was saying before was my mom was always so open with this is what you struggle with. You were born at a disadvantage, but you don't need to be a victim to that. You don't need to continue the cycle that your birth parents did. You don't need to live in poverty like them. You are blessed now with a new, fresh start, and you overcame that early on. So you actually have resilience in you, and you've already overcome something so big. So keep that going. And so we had lots of counseling, and it was hard, but we just had to be humble and recognize, like, yeah, we were born with this disadvantage, but it doesn't mean that we have to continue all these cycles of where we came from. Like, we have a new fresh start. And especially because my parents were so strong with their testimonies. Like there's the scripture that if you come unto me and you humble yourself, I'll make weak things become strong unto you. And I truly believe that because it was really hard for me to connect and get close to people in the beginning. But as my mom's taught me to just recognize that and work through it and don't become a victim to it, I feel like I have been able to connect with lots of people. Like on my mission, I was able to really form strong relationships that I thought I would never have. And with my husband and with my nail clients, I feel like some of them are, we share our deepest, darkest secrets with each other. So I do believe you don't have to become a victim to it. And Heavenly Father will make your weaknesses become your strengths if you are humble and have the hard conversations and are willing to do the hard things.
I love that. That was so beautiful. Your mom seems like such a special woman that she was able to give you that gift of like validating your circumstance, but then also pushing you for more and
Mhm.
letting you know that that didn't have to hold you back or keep you stuck. That's so cool. And yeah, it must have been really interesting to grow up in a home where there were a lot of people coming from different traumas. You know, even your siblings, even though you were all from the same birth parents, I'm sure you've all handled it very differently and had different
Mhm.
issues stem because of that, because we're all so individual. So that's amazing.
Yeah, my parents were great. I just love that, yeah, they didn't make it something to be ashamed of, or they just like, yeah, we gotta recognize it, we gotta deal with it, and with the help of God, we can overcome it. So,
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I loved how you said like we can have fresh starts. Um, because like that's the whole good news of the gospel, right? Is that
exactly.
through Christ we can have fresh starts and it doesn't matter where you started. I was listening to a talk by Elder Gilbert. I'm sure everybody, not everybody, but I'm sure a lot of people have gone back to like his
Mhm.
last conference talk. Have you?
Yes, of course, he's
Yeah.
amazing.
So the slopes one, the parable of the slopes
Mhm.
was one that I was listening to. And he talks about how um, we all, you know, start at different starting points.
Mhm.
That doesn't matter as long as like our slopes are going up, and just how through Christ like we can, you know, be amazing and do amazing things no matter where we're
Mhm.
starting out. And it's just such a cool message. So talk to us a little bit more about being a victim and how you've been able to come out of that with this mentality. I think without that victim mentality. I think this is
Mhm.
such a fascinating topic because like all of us can be a victim, you know? I was listening to a podcast by Tony Robbins a while back and he was talking about how we as humans like want a problem.
Mhm.
And I thought this was really fascinating. He just was saying that like we're always looking for a problem. We want an excuse. I think it's like part of the natural man to
Yeah.
limit our own potential by just being like, I started out here, you know, like
Yeah.
I, and it can be any, like, obviously yours is like a really universally traumatic, right? Like everyone would
Mhm.
look at your situation and be like, wow, you know, like we could all agree that you are a
Yeah.
victim, you know?
Yeah.
Like you didn't have any control of this situation, you know, and this was just a terrible circumstance, right? But then it can be something as small as, you know, sometimes I find myself playing victim just with my kids and just feeling overwhelmed and exhausted when I obviously chose to have my children. You know, so like I'm
Yes,
not a victim, but it's so easy for our brains
it
to go
is.
there.
Yeah.
So give us some tips and tricks.
I don't know. Like, it's true. It's so natural, and it's obviously like something that I continue to have to work on. Like,
Yeah,
I
I'm
did
sure.
years of therapy, talking through what I went through and how I can fix my emotional attachment issues and stuff. But I still have to continue to work on that every day and remind myself. And I think it's just like my perspective of how I grew up. I grew up with 12 different siblings, but then my parents still did foster care. We still had so many different kids come through our house
Wow.
with so many different problems and issues. And we didn't keep on adopting them after that. They moved on and went their different ways. And my mom was just so good at reminding us, like, you are so blessed with this new chance. Like we're saying, you have a new life and opportunity before you. I don't know where all those foster kids are, but I know with the opportunities I've been blessed with. So, yeah, it's going to be hard for me to overcome these issues, but there is so much opportunity for me too. And when I was giving my talk, it was based off of Elder Eyring's conference talk, and he just talked about these hard things that we go through, they're because God trusts us to go through them and grow from them. And like, he
Mm,
knows that we can grow even more. And so it's like, yeah, God's really happy with what you overcame, but he wants you to grow even more. He can see your potential that you can't even see yourself.
hmm.
And so I don't know, it's hard to become a victim, but gratitude is like just the opposite of that. And I know
Mm,
it
I love
sounds
that.
so simple and so basic, but
But usually, like the like really good answers are, like they
Mhm,
are so simple because it is like the by the small and simple things are great things brought to pass, right?
mhm, exactly.
Yeah, I think we want there to be like some amazing answer, like,
Mhm. Yeah,
you
I'm like,
know,
I wish I
like,
had this like
tell me
great thing to
what you're
say.
doing. But like that's the cool thing about um the clan of happiness, right? Is that like it is the simple things. It is just praying every day, reading your scriptures, going to church, continuing
Yeah.
to be grateful, just all the little things that make us happy in life.
Exactly. And yeah, like you were saying, prayer is also, of course, a big one. It is so hard for me to build just even like friendships. Like I just don't want to get too attached to like anybody because I
Mm.
just knew eventually like it was gonna go away. That's what I thought because
Yeah.
that's
That
what
was
I
like
was used
ingrained in
to.
your soul, right?
Yes, and it was subconscious, like, I didn't realize it until after the fact, but it was
Mhm.
hard for me throughout high school and school to just become close with people and wanna keep those relationships going, and even on my mission, I just wanted to be a victim too. I got placed with hard companions who I thought, like, "Why does nobody else have to have this companion?" And my mom sent me a talk, and it was about charity, and you have to pray for charity. It's a gift. It's something that's gifted to you. You can obviously do things to develop it, but ultimately God has to gift you the gift. It's called the gift of charity. And
Mhm.
so I was going through this one transfer where I like just could not connect to my companion. I thought I was wasting my time. I thought I should just go home. And I just prayed every single day for charity for my companion. And I tried to serve her, I tried to do things, and as I was praying for the charity, like, I truly felt it come, and it was just as simple as, like, "Heavenly Father, I really just need you to help me have this. I don't know what else to do at this point besides just ask." And I think he wanted me to be humble and be like, "Yeah, I wanna help you. I just was waiting for you to ask." And it was ironic because by the end of it, our mission president is asking me and my companion to give a lesson to our whole mission about companionship unity because we're so close and we work so good together and we're so united in Christ. And I'm like, it took a lot of work to
It
have
came at a
that. And
cost,
I wanted to be
yeah.
a victim and be like, me and my companion just don't get along. We're two different people. But
Yeah.
yeah, prayer and
Oh,
unity.
so neat. Gratitude and prayer. I love that. That's a great story. Um, when did you go into therapy when you were growing up? How soon did they like start you in therapy out
So
of curiosity?
yeah, so the state, because I was in foster care, the state has lots of resources because they
Okay.
know it's hard. Your parents didn't choose for you to have this different life. You just kind of got taken away from that.
Yeah.
And so we had lots of resources. We had caseworkers who we would work with while we were in foster care
Right.
and then even after foster care. And they were also like counselors and therapists. And so we had two different ones who we were really close with for basically just this since the time I got out of was in foster care, got out of it all the way until I was maybe in like high school or 8th grade. They would come to our house every week, and it wasn't just me they were meeting with my other siblings who had gone through the same experience and
Yeah.
working through their own personal things. And so, yeah, it was years of it, and sometimes it was fun, and sometimes it was like you were asked uncomfortable questions and you
Yeah.
just had to have hard, uncomfortable conversations. But
Yeah.
obviously, that's when you grow the most, is when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, sadly.
yeah. But yeah, there was lots of resources for my mom and lots of people who have worked with other kids like this and who were able to tell us like we understand this is so hard. Here's what you can do to try and overcome these challenges. And so
Yeah.
that's really nice. We were really close with them over the years and we still are close with them. So
Yeah, that's so awesome. So then tell us about um choosing your degree.
mhm.
Well, I guess even getting married. I'm so proud of you that you're married. You
Thank
seem really young. How young are you?
Yeah. I'm 24, so
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
So, like, it's amazing. Like, I could see that just being, like, a really hard thing and a really scary thing to commit to, so well done.
Yeah. Thank you.
And, um, when you I don't know, talk us through that. Was that scary at
Yeah.
all or
Yeah, so because I was in foster care so early, it's funny, my parents would be like, "Oh, you were so protective over your little sister when you were in foster care." And then growing up in a family of 12 kids and I'm the middle of the 12, I just kind of had to learn to be independent early on.
Mhm,
And then I think I just got used to I can take care of myself and I just need to figure it out myself. And so then when I started dating my husband, it was kind of hard at the beginning because I just thought like I can do everything myself. I don't need help with anything.
mhm,
And he kind of recognized that I had some of these emotional issues and traumas and he's like, I can help you as long as you're just humble and like admit that sometimes you can't do everything yourself and you do need help. Like we can figure it out together. So that was really hard in our relationship at the beginning as we are trying to connect and grow closer together. He's like, you do need to recognize that you don't have to just be independent and do everything yourself. And
yeah,
um, I can take care of you, I can help you. And so then I had to talk to my mom again, like, "These are my emotional, like, issues, and I've been working so hard my whole life to overcome them, and I wanna overcome them still so I can have this good relationship with my husband too,
yeah,
and, not pass that all down to my family." And so, yeah, like I said, it's still a work in progress, but I truly believed, like, therapy and just, like, recognizing them and learning things that can help you change your thought processes and to be more positive and to not be so focused on the past, but so focused on the opportunities in the future and learning resilience and stuff like that helped a lot. And so I was interested in learning about that at school as well, so I could talk to other people because as I was doing nails as a nail tech while I was dating my husband and going to school, I'm like, wow, I'm obviously not the only person who has ever gone through anything hard in my life. I heard a lot of other people's stories
yeah,
and
that's probably, like, the perfect job to
yes.
like, I feel like everybody jokes about, like, just telling their nail tech everything and anything.
Exactly, and I'm like, "Wow," like, I feel like I didn't go through anything nearly as traumatic as some of these
Mm.
people,
Yeah, and
and
perspective can help so much, because
it
like,
truly
it can
can.
like, in your situation, it could be so easy to just think, "Wow, me and my
Mhm.
siblings had it so rough, nobody knows what it's like."
Yeah, and then you hear these other stories, and that was happening to me, and people were like, "What helped you?" Because like, we would share our stories, and I'd ask them what helps them, and so then I was interested, and I'm like, "Oh, I wish I had more answers." I do wanna learn because obviously you could go back to being a victim and be like, "Well, my brain is just wired that way now forever." But in therapy, like, you can literally, like, change the way your brain is wired and how you think about things, and so I was like, I'll start learning about that in school. It can help me with my relationship. It can help me with work. So I was just, it can help me. just in general with whoever I come in contact with, we're all going through hard things all the time. It's important to learn about how you can just think more positive thoughts. And obviously it's harder than thinking positive thoughts, but
Yeah.
you can put in the work to um, overcome your challenges.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just like you said, it is possible to change our brains.
Mhm.
And I like that you said it wasn't just like a one-time thing. Like over and over, you have to continue to work on your weaknesses and your attachment struggles. And um, I think that is like in on one side, like that's hard, right? But that's like our whole life, like anything good, our relationship with
Mhm.
anyone around us, our relationship with God, our relationship with our physical bodies. We can't just exercise one time really good, and then just be set for life.
Yeah.
Everything in life is about like small and simple things. And so it is so cool to know that we can change and that we can totally change our brains, because I strongly believe that Satan does not want us to feel that way. He just wants us to stay in the dark and stay feeling stuck and victimized, right? I also loved how you talked about changing your thoughts. I've done a little bit of like listening to life coaches, and I had always heard growing up, and just everybody just says that happiness is a choice, right?
Mhm.
And I did not understand that until I understood how our thoughts create our feelings, and then our feelings create our behavior, right?
Mhm.
And that is so powerful.
It truly is.
Everybody needs to be taught that like
Mhm.
literally your thoughts are what are creating your feelings. And if you start noticing, it is fascinating. If you really in the moment, you're starting to feel like big emotions or feeling stressed about something, and if you can tune into yourself and listen to those thoughts you're having, you can totally settle yourself right down by just I'm being dramatic about this. Like, this
Mhm.
may or may not be true. I don't have to believe this thought that's in my brain, right? And I think we as women have a tendency, especially, to be quite dramatic. And it can be so easy to just like get ourselves super riled up over nothing, like literally
Mhm.
nothing. It's just the thoughts in our brains.
Exactly, and it's so interesting because I don't remember, like, all the terms of your brain and everything, but when you think a positive thought, it will your brain will start to remember other positive things that were
Mm,
happening and other happy memories. But if and it's like a cycle. But if you're thinking something negative, then your brain starts remembering all the negative things. So it really can
mm,
sound so simple, but it really can be as simple as just trying to think of one thing positive, and naturally your brain just creates a cycle where it thinks of another positive thing and another happy thing. And
mhm.
yeah, it's like simple, and you just have to be
Again, it's like
humble
the
and try
simple,
it.
stupid thing, but
Yeah.
yeah.
'Cause I'm like, "That sounds so dumb, like, is that really gonna fix it?" But, like, when you
Yes.
are just like, "Okay, I'm humble, I'm just gonna try it," it works, it
Yeah.
truly does. It's like God, when Moses was asked the people to just look at the serpent
Yeah,
head and they'll
Moses.
be healed, and
Mhm.
it just seemed too easy and too, like, that's so simple, but if they were humble and looked, like, they would be healed,
Yeah.
and I remember learning about that thought process thing on my mission when I was like struggling, and I'm like, wow, that seems so simple, but if I'm humble and just try it, it truly like changed my whole mission and my perspective of everything.
Yeah. So cool. That was a perfect example of Moses and looking at the serpent. Just so simple. It reminds me your list idea, or just trying to think of a positive thing and helping it, you know, kind of be
Yeah.
I can't think of the word, but yes, when you just like help it go into other thoughts of gratitude.
Mhm.
Um, we actually my husband owns a healthcare company, so he takes care of people with disabilities.
Okay.
So essentially it's through the state,
Mhm.
and it's kind of like the foster care system but for handicapped people. And so we actually had a lady live with us for 6 years
Mhm.
who had a traumatic brain injury. And she was amazing. She taught us all sorts of things, and it was also one of the hardest things I've ever done, for sure.
Yeah.
She came to live with us shortly after we were married, and that's not what you
Yeah.
like hope for when you're a newlywed. But it was very divinely orchestrated. And anyway, this reminded me of her because she would definitely like spiral in negativity sometimes and, you know, be all upset about something. But she was so easy to de-escalate because we'd just be like, hey, just go in your room and start writing down some things you're grateful for, you know, and then like immediately she'd just be like,
I love
I'm good
that.
now, you know?
Yeah.
And like, again, like it seems so simple, but it's so powerful. My little 7-year-old as well lately, she tends to um be a little bit more negative and get in this like just a grumpy mood. She'll just be like
Yeah.
so grumpy. And I do it too. I'm sure she learned it from
Yeah.
me. So I'm sorry. I'm working on it. This podcast will help me. But she's like, we'll get all grumpy and then I'll be like, Kate, what's wrong? Like, why are you grumpy? What's happening? And she'll be like, nothing. There's no reason. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't have to stay there. Like, you can change it if you want. You
Yeah.
know, like that's something I've been telling her for probably like a couple of years now. But finally, lately, not finally, she's very tiny. Amazingly, lately, like it's the cutest
Yeah.
thing. And it's such a good example to me because, like I said, I still don't get it. And I'm 33. But she, like this morning, she's like mad as can be and is just woke up on the wrong side of the bed and is just grumpy. And then I'm doing her hair and she's like pulling and, you know, barking at me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to do your hair. You asked me to do your hair. And then she's like, I don't want to be grumpy anymore. And then she wasn't. Like,
Aw.
it really does come down to our thoughts, you know? So powerful for this little tiny 7-year-old to start recognizing this and just recognizing that she does have the choice to be happy. She can just choose to not be grumpy. And I think verbally saying it out loud and just being like, no more. I'm done with this.
Yeah.
It's so
I love
powerful.
that. Yeah, it's like you can just choose. And my husband tells me that too when I'm grumpy. He's like, no one's making you feel this way. Like you choose how you feel. And I hate hearing that, but I'm like, it's true. Like you do choose how you feel. And it's so natural to, like we were saying before, want to be a victim of your feelings and stuff. It's like the natural man in us.
Mhm.
But everything about the plan of salvation and what God wants for us is to become godly like Him and go against our natural man. And so I also think just having an eternal perspective on life helps you snap out of it real quick. You're like, okay, this is what Satan wants me to feel sad and misery loves company. But everything God wants for me is so much better and holier and happier. And like,
Mhm.
it's going against the natural man. It's natural to want to just be
Be
a victim
grumpy
of our
and
emotions.
grumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I remember a long not a long time ago, but towards the beginning of our marriage, I definitely like shut down when we're like in arguments and stuff. Like I am not very good at handling conflict. Or previously haven't been. I hope I've come a long way. But in the beginning, I would just completely shut down and just like not talk and would not talk and just give my husband the silent treatment for like, you know, a day or
Yeah.
2 days, you know, just like
Yeah.
I just was not talking. I was not having that. um, but and I'm sure it was just the spirit teaching me, but one time I just like had this thought that like Satan is winning when I do that. You know, like if I just
Yeah.
shut down, if we don't talk to each other, if we can't even communicate about this, like Satan has won and he is just laughing, you know? And I
Yeah.
think it's the same when we allow ourselves to sit in that victim mentality and when we allow ourselves to sit in that negativity and just feel sorry for ourselves, you know, and just
Yeah.
like he has won. Like that's exactly where he wants you.
Yeah. No, that's so true. Yeah. It's so interesting. And another thing that I like to remember is of course, Heavenly Father does not expect us to be perfect at it, because sometimes I do get really hard on myself. Like, I feel like I was doing so good, and then all of a sudden, my emotional issues come out, and me and my husband have this fight, and it's
Mhm.
bad. And I feel like, oh, why did I do that? I feel so guilty, so sad. But again, those same like feelings are coming from Satan. Jesus Christ wants you to remember that you can just start again whenever. Like, okay, you messed up. I didn't expect you to be perfect. That's the reason why you have the atonement, and you can just go out there and say you're sorry to your husband and
Mhm.
move forward.
Yeah.
Just keep moving.
Mhm.
Keep moving with it, because sometimes I do feel bad, and then I just get stuck in it, and I just don't want to keep trying anymore. But we can with Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Going along with this conversation, I think as powerful as our brains are and how we really can um, change how we feel about certain scenarios, I also think it's really important to recognize that although we do have that power, that like we still are going to feel traumas come up like in
Mhm.
our bodies. Like those things were real and we can't just like talk our way out of them or think positively out of them.
Mhm.
I know like my husband and I were having this conversation not too long ago. I was telling him it's so cool that we can change how we think and change our emotions. But then sometimes when I'm having really strong emotions, I feel almost like guilty or shameful for having them because I know I could change my thoughts and not have them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um but like there are times where like we need to feel those emotions too, right? It's just so important to actually feel
Yes.
and like you're not always just trying to like be so positive or be this like fake
Mhm.
positive. Like you have to still feel your emotions and your traumas and your triggers. But I think where like the powerful part that comes is like after you feel them, you get to choose like, do I want to stay here?
Yeah. No, I love that. That is like such an important point. Yeah, my mom would always remind us, yeah, you did go through something hard, like, feel sad. Even just,
Like
I
she
was
validated
stressed
you.
about this class. Yeah, she validated me. She's like, yeah, that is really frustrating. Like, feel sad about it and let yourself process that, because it's very important to feel those feelings, but don't stay stuck in them.
Hmm.
So yeah, I like what you're saying. You don't have to feel guilty for feeling sad or down or feeling those hard things come up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting because in life coaching, like I said, I haven't done any therapy, but in the little bit of life coaching that I have listened to, it's like you just recognize how much power you have. It's like you're taking back your power of how you want your life to go and what direction you want to head. But with that comes this responsibility, and you just feel like so responsible for all of your feelings if you're not
Yeah.
careful, you know, like if you're not
Yeah.
thinking about that part logically,
Yeah.
then it can be hard too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate what you were saying about how sometimes you feel like you've come such a long way and then um something comes up with your husband and you're like, why did I react like that? Like I thought I'd moved past that. And um we're all just practicing, right? Like we're just
Mhm.
here and just practicing over and over again. I
Mhm.
feel similarly just in my parenting. Um that hard things come up and I get stressed out and I yell or overreact and then I'm just like, oh come on, like I had been doing so good, like this isn't where I want to be. And so then you do just what you said, you apologize and be humble and practice again next time,
Yeah. No, that's so true. I love that.
yeah. So tell us, are you nervous to have children? Excited to have children? Like, do you think that's going to bring up a whole nother layer of,
Yeah.
your things?
I'm just excited to have children. Like, I feel proud of like how far I've come and where my life started and where I see it now. Like, if you were looking from the outside in without knowing this, you'd be like, yeah, she has pretty ordinary, basic
Oh,
life. But for
100%.
me, that is like, I'm like, well, for me, my life's extraordinary because I knew where it started and where it is now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm just excited to have a family and break the cycles of where I came from and start something new. And I know it's going to be challenging, and I'm sure there's going to be some challenges that come up, but I'm mainly just excited. And I came from, my parents are so great and they help us through everything. And I'm excited to help my kids through those hard times. And yeah, I think it'll be fun. I do want to adopt, so we'll see if
Mhm.
that's it might be true. Because I'm like, that was like so life-changing for
Yeah.
me. Like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I
I
need
was
to
curious
give
to know
back.
if you would foster or adopt.
Yeah, and I, like, talked to my husband about it. I'm like, before we got married, I'm like, "You know that I wanna adopt kids, right?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
Like, if we're blessed to be able to like, provide for them, then let's do it. And so I know that will come with challenges too, because
Yeah.
I brought challenges into my family, so
Yeah.
I know that will come with challenges, but I'm just mainly just excited because I had such a fresh, good start with my life. I wanna do that for other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And what better person to adopt or foster than you who's been through it, and just to be able, like, you'd be able to relate to them on a whole nother
Mhm.
level, and
Yeah.
just that'd be so cool. Yeah. Um, and I was just gonna say, like, even just as far as having your own children, it sounds like your mom has blessed you with so many tools to
Mhm.
be able to work through things. And what a blessing, like you said, to be able to help your children with that and teach them what you've learned, even with your degree and everything.
Mm.
Um, so cool. And when you said, like, from the outside looking in, people would have no idea where you came from. And yeah, I was shocked to hear your story when you told us in Sacrament, and even just like now you saying like you've had like attachment issues. I would not have guessed that in the slightest.
Oh,
Like,
good. I'm glad.
that's how cool Jesus is, right? And like the
Yeah.
gospel is the like,
Yeah.
and like you putting in the work, you like humbling yourself to go to him, and that you've been able to just do this 180 is so cool. Because how long have you been in the ward? Just the 6 months since you got married?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've been in the ward since like last July, so not very
Mm.
long. And um you have just been like so involved, and you seem so
Thank you.
outgoing. I remember you one of the first few weeks that the ward got split and you were in our ward, you sat next to me and I introduced myself, and I just
Yeah.
never would have guessed, like you're just
Oh, I'm
bubbly
glad.
and sweet. And um you don't seem introverted or like closed off in any way. So I think that is a testament to how hard you've worked to open yourself up
Thank
and
you.
be vulnerable, which is just amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. That seriously means so much to hear. It's been hard, but I it is nice to hear that because yeah, it's been a lot of hard work. And of course, like you said, like Jesus Christ plays such a huge role in that. And I think it's like perfect with we're doing this right now with Easter coming up and it's springtime. And I remember I saw a quote that said like spring exists to remind us that all things can become new. Like there's new
Mm,
flowers blossoming.
that
And I'm
is
like,
beautiful.
that's when Jesus, you know, performed the atonement and then resurrected and um came back with this perfected body. And we can have that too, and we can become new. It doesn't just happen in the springtime, it happens literally every day if we want it to. So it's just such a blessing that we can become new whenever through Jesus Christ and through our Heavenly Father's help.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. That quote was really beautiful. And amen. I agree. It is amazing that we can have fresh starts. I tell my girls frequently, I'm like, isn't it such a blessing that we get to sleep every night, and then like in the morning we get to have a new day? God could have made it so it was just one big long life. There could have been no
It's so
sleeps.
true.
It would have been just one big terrible day.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He gave us new days every day. And I love
Yes.
sunrises because it just reminds me that we just have another day where we get to
I
get
love
up
that.
and try again. We get to try to be positive and be happy and rise to our potential. And it's just so neat. Wherever we're coming from and whatever
Mhm.
circumstance we're in right now, like we truly get to choose. And when we choose Christ to help us, then that's really where the magic happens.
Yeah, that is so true. I love that so much.
So cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on and
Yeah,
teaching
thank
us
you.
and sharing us your story and being open and vulnerable. I know I learned a lot from you, and I know everybody listening will as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I learned so much, and I am grateful to have the opportunity to share.
You're the best. Thank you.